Hello and welcome to a new season of Chalk Talk. It's Chalk Talk Season 4, the show where each week we bring you everything you need to know about college sailing. Really pleased to have back our sponsor from last year, US Sailing, who reminds you that you can get a steep discount on your US Sailing college membership for college sailors, as well as freebies like iPhone apps. More details at college.ussailing.org. And we're also very, very happy to have back US Sailing Team Alpha Graphics member Eric Stork.
Hi, Chris. It's good to be back. I said I would come back, though, because just like you said, it's all about the college sailing, and here you are trying to frill it up with a tie. What's going on? What's going on here?
Well, you know, new season, thought a new look. What do you think?
All right. Yeah, I guess maybe we can work that in. Yeah, I've been busy. Last I talked to you, I was in Kiel, Germany. We had a good event there, and then went to Poland, England, made a couple other stops, and campaign trail's going well. So all good things to report.
Glad to hear it. So to start off this season, you know, it's September. Everyone's shaking off the rust. Teams that come back from a lot of sailing this summer have a pretty big advantage over the teams that don't. Some teams aren't even really sailing their players yet. So rather than focus on the regattas happening right now, let's take a look around the districts and talk a little bit about which teams are going to be shining this season and what kind of changes have happened since the 09-010 season. I'll start it off in MAISA. One team I'm going to be looking at this season, fall to spring, is Georgetown. Unlike some of their rivals, they return almost everybody. Last spring they had 2 All-Americans and 2 honorable mentions. They'll be sailing Buckingham, Barnard, and Fernary. In the co-eds, they'll have Sydney Bolger, we think, in the women's. Can anybody else in MAISA compete with Georgetown this season?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. St. Mary's, you know, perennially good in MAISA, but they did lose Teddy Hale and Jesse Kirkland. Jesse, actually, I'm now seeing on the campaign trail on the 49er for Bermuda, sailing with his older brother, Xander. Michael Menninger, though, you know, he's been around for a while. He's coming back. They also got a few really good recruits, including Ian Liberty and John Wallace, who are both also U.S. Sailing Team Development Team members. I think that's actually how they call it, so not just my adding 2 teams in there. Hobart returns all 3 of their top starters. Navy, they lose a couple, but they keep Rob Van as a leader there, which is always important to kind of build up the new incomings, who they also have Max Lopez coming in. He could be a player quickly. And Marissa Lehan, you know, we all know Sarah Lehan from Yale. She's graduated, but the Lehan sisters will continue their reign on college sailing. ODU, Steph Robles, a senior, still coming back. And then just a couple others to look at in the district. Cornell, kind of exciting. They're now a varsity team. They've got a full-time head coach in Brian Clancy, who left Navy. You know, they've got that great facility that hosted single-handeds. So we'll see, you know, maybe not this year, but next couple of years they'll be making some big pushes. WAC lost Connor Bluen. That's going to be big for them. And Virginia, you know, they could surprise a couple people in a regatta or 2.
Yeah, there's a name we haven't heard much on Chalk Talk. We'll be looking out for them. Moving west in the MCSA, Wisconsin early on this season, having kind of a big show. They return Joe Kuchenreiter, who's a junior, and Leif Evanson, who's a senior. They also pick up little brother George Kuchenreiter, who's been on a tear in the I-420s and the scows he's getting into now. So it'll be kind of fun to see the Kuchenreiter legacy over at Wisco. Minnesota.
I think you said that last name 3 different times in that 3 sentences, Chris.
I just love to say Kuchenreiter. Minnesota returns Matt Thompson, and we'll see if anybody else in that district can make the return to the spotlight. Michigan comes east a lot. We'll see if they continue to do that this season.
Back east onto NEISA. Couldn't be a Chalk Talk without mentioning the Eagles, could it? BC, they returned their A Division and B Division skipper, national champions Tyler Sinks and Taylor Canefield. You never know who's going to be where. It doesn't even matter. They're still the deepest team in college sailing. Annie Hager, the most valuable all-around player in the game as far as, just eligibility for different championships. She could be a player in women's single-handeds, obviously, women's nationals, team racing, you name it. Emily Maxwell, senior, also returns. Actually, one more thing about BC is with the new sloop format, Taylor Canfield is, I think, top 40 in the match racing rankings in ISAF right now. So that's not just college sailors. That's the world. So good luck, everybody. But you never know. There's a lot of NEISA is a very deep field. So who else are you looking at?
Well, Brown, who made an early run at the Harry Anderson this past weekend. They've got men's single-hand and co-ed skipper Fred Strammer returning for a fourth year. Boy, it seems like he's been around forever. He's joined by Colin Smith. They've got their single-hand and double-hand rock star Elizabeth Barry, and they return Emily Dellenbaugh. So always a threat for the women's side of things. Your alma mater has a bit of a shakeup. Dartmouth loses their co-head coach John Pierce as he moves south to Washington, D.C. We'll see if he makes a return to college sailing. Justin Assad takes up that position, moving from University of Vermont. We're excited to see what he'll add to the Big Green. They lose Becca Dellenbaugh. Big shoes to fill on the women's side of things. And I think they've picked up a couple of recruits as well. Matt Weffer, who is a member of the U.S. Sailing Team Development Team. Harvard returns Palmer, Stokes, and Himmler, who had an incredible showing at Nationals last spring. We'll watch out for them. Roger Williams keeps Cy Thompson and Bouchard. UVM loses Clinton Hayes and Coco Salzvig, two huge leaders. They were part of that class that Justin Assad brought up from freshman to senior. It's going to be interesting to see where UVM goes from here. We'll definitely keep their eyes on them. They've got Coleman Bowen and Johnny Norfleet, Kim Call in the on the women's side, so we'll see. Yale will be an interesting...
And Jordan Factor, big recruit at UVM.
Yeah, that's right. They pick up Jordan Factor as well. So definitely some talent. It's all about direction now. Yale graduates last year's College Sailor of the Year, Thomas Barrows, and we'll be looking for him on the Olympic campaign soon. But they've got Joe Morris. He's been doing his thing in B Division for the past few years, getting it done. Yale winning tons of regattas, and now he steps up. He is the new leader. Behind him, he's got a supporting cast of Cam Coleman. Chris Sagerbloom joins the team, and they've got some other recruits as well. Tyler Rice and Marlena Fowler, who I know you coached in past years.
Yeah, Yale will be good. I think Joe Morris is ready. He's well groomed, as they say. And yeah, watch for Marlena Fowler on the women's scene sooner rather than later.
In the Northwest, University of Washington returns Hannah Darren and Glenn Stallmacher. Look for them to make waves across the country. The rest of the district, we're just going to have to wait and see. They've been kind of sleeping dogs the past few years, but we'll see what the future brings.
Staying out west, PCC, Stanford returns Nick Dugdale, Eliza Richards. They graduated Peter Stemler, but they still also have Hannah Burrows, who's been all over that team, women's, co-ed crewing, everything. But big story with Stanford is that I think they have 12 recruits coming in, 12 recruited sailors. I don't think there's 12 sophomores and above on that team, so it's gonna be a huge shakeup there. They're very good. They have, I counted at least 4 U.S. Sailing Development Team members in those 12, including Kevin Lobb, Helena Scott, and 2 that I think will be big-time playmakers early are Mateo Vargas and Oliver Toole. So, watch out for these guys coming east and really competing soon. Speaking of coming east, let's go back east to SAISA. Miami, I think they're going to be new. Not new, we kind of are getting used to them, but this same team has been coming up from freshman year, and at this point they're just more and more experienced. You got Alex Alt is a senior, and Nick Voss and David Hernandez are juniors, and they'll certainly continue to make their presence known.
Yeah, that district has for a long time now been kind of a one-team district. College of Charleston, one of the most well-supported varsity teams in all of college sailing. But yeah, we get to watch Miami. Charleston, incidentally, this year loses 2 of their big stars. One, Magley, who is putting college on hold to pursue his Olympic career for Guatemala. And of course, Allie Bleacher, last year's Women's College Sailor of the Year, who graduated. But they've still got a few players, and they'll still be a powerhouse in that district. Florida has got Ian Hausler returning, and Danny Levy. And Eckerd and USF, 2 of the teams that are always kind of on the fringe, they might have a tough year. They were hit hard with the graduation of Andrew Keene and Spencer Vernay from Eckerd, and Mitch Hall, a big loss for USF. But definitely watch out for Miami and Charleston in the upcoming months.
Yeah, and in the theme of graduates, SEISA Southeast, most of their top teams have lost a lot of players. Just kind of works out that way. Some of these districts will go in waves of classes. Tamag lost Valentine and Barber, both their A skippers in code and women's. Tulane lost Chris Bird. SMU, Rachel Ellis. A&M lost Carson Marston, who's been a player there for a long time. Texas, kind of the only one who made it out unscathed, or relatively unscathed. They lost one of their big players, but kept most of them.
Fun to see a few of the teams that have been away now returning. West Florida and University of Central Oklahoma making a comeback this year in SEISA. And so good luck to those club teams as they try to build strength in that district. And of course, SEISA also already excited to host the 2012 Nationals, which will likely be in Austin, Texas, planning underway now. So that wraps up a look around the district. In the future weeks, we'll be talking more about these teams and all the regattas that are going on this fall. Right now, we're pretty early on in the season. We just had the Harry Anderson.
Yeah, the Harry Anderson, the classic, still feels like summer sailing a lot of times. You know, you're sailing on Long Island Sound. It was good breeze this year. Brown and Roger Williams were real close, just 3 points separate them. Brown Bears took the overall. The home school Yale was 3rd, Harvard 4th, and Wisco surprising a lot of people. And hopefully we'll see more of that, but Wisco rounded out the top 5.
This upcoming weekend, we've got the Nevins Trophy at Kings Point and the Mrs. Hurst at Dartmouth. Join us next Thursday and every Thursday for more Chalk Talk. For this week, that's it. I'm Chris Love.
I'm Eric Stork.
We'll see you next week.